know what that sound means. It means it's time to start the Zach Dresler Show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Zach Dresler Show. I am Zach Dresler dressed in my PJs, in my soccer ball PJs. Look at that, right? This was a hoodie that I saw some dude pre-COVID wear at the gym, this older man that owns a soccer making company. He makes soccer gloves, goals, all this stuff. And he wore this, and I go, where did you get that? And he goes, I make them. And I go, I need to have one. And the next day, he showed up at the gym and gave me this for free. And
what a generous guy. That's how you become successful.
That's
yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. It's word of mouth advertising.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
This thing is it's like a onesie that's cut off at the waist. It's really, really, really freaking comfortable. But you know, the reason why we are wearing this is because I agreed with Caroline to do a pajama interview. Caroline Somerville Nead is our guest today, by the way. She will be joining us, and so we're doing a little pajama themed interview type of thing.
Welcome, Caroline.
We're friends from BuzzFeed. You know, we worked with her at BuzzFeed. That's how I knew her. She's a producer, director, content creator. You know, she is a New Orleans born and raised. So we're going to talk a lot about New Orleans, the food, the restaurants, what's going on with COVID right now, how they're handling it. But go and check out her YouTube channel, which is Crescent City Caroline. And you can also go follow her on Instagram, which is at Crescent City Caroline. And I'm sure she has some other ones to plug once we get her on. How you doing, Indy?
Dude, doing good. Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. Oh yeah, by the way, if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know, you can check out this audio version on, you know, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher. They're all there. But please like and subscribe to the channel. Comment below whatever you want. If you want to hate on me, go ahead. I don't give a shit. I've gotten a couple of interesting comments over the past couple of days on other things. But
hey, they ain't making content.
Nah, they ain't. They're just sitting there.
They wish. They wish they were in all them BuzzFeed videos.
We might bring that up in a bit. But how you doing, bro? I feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You know, it's it's pandemic, you know, still wearing masks,
any
still
luck
not vaccinated.
Any luck getting the shot? Any luck getting online for the shot?
No, I'm not too active on looking.
Okay.
Since I don't even think I'm even close to being eligible other than being obese.
Yeah. So what Caroline's going to come on, she actually got the Johnson & Johnson shot. So we're going to talk to her about that.
Yeah.
I've tried, man. I've tried to like, and it's like half-ass attempts.
Yeah.
You know, to try and see if I can get it, because I've seen all these people who are a lot healthier than me, younger than me, getting this shot, and I'm not jealous of it. I know I'm gonna get my shot eventually. I think I kind of just wanted to get it over with, so this way I have it. I feel, you know, I don't know if anything's ever 100% protected, but you know, close enough.
Yeah, I mean, I got the chickenpox vaccine, and I got chickenpox.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I had the chickenpox vaccine. I got shingles, which is a form of chickenpox.
Oh my lord!
Dude, and I thought
I was given a
bro. When did you get chickenpox?
Dude, I got it when I was like 14.
Dude, I got shingles. Dude, I got shingles is supposed to be. I mean, no offense, it's supposed to be for older people, or you get it when you're older. Right. Dude, I got shingles when I was 27.
Oh no!
It was the most.
I'm 27 right now.
It was the most painful thing in the world, because with shingles it attaches to your nerve endings, other than chickenpox. No. So that's why people see it like you get it on like a patch here on your knee. Like
I've seen the commercials.
I got it right here above my eye. Oh, I had it going through there was like a nerve vein here. And I remember I was sitting there, I was working at MTV at the time, and I'm sitting there, I'm assistant editor, and I'm logging things, and like my eye starts to swell up and starts to itch. I'm like, what is going on? Am I allergic to something? Did I touch my eye? What happened? And so 3 hours later, my eye was almost completely shut.
Oh my.
And it was just like this welt was building over my head. And so I went to the ER, and they're like, yeah, you got shingles. And I was like, how the fuck do I get shingles? Isn't that for people who are like 60 and older? And they're like, you don't know, you got it. It's a form of. And this is the thing that freaked me out. They're like, it's a form of herpes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did I make out with someone in my eye that had herpes? Like, what the fuck happened? And then, you know, when you're 27, you're like, yo, we're gonna give you herpes medication. You're like, I gotta hide this from my roommates. I cannot let anybody know. But yeah, that was a random thing to go off a topic. But
no, I think you know, it goes in, it's medical. It's a long time. Yeah, but I think with getting the vaccine, I think Caroline, who you guys will see in a second, she gives some pretty good, I think, pretty ethical ways to get the vaccine, even though you're not technically eligible.
Yeah.
Well, but it's ethical in the fact that if people, they can't throw, like, you don't want them the hospitals to throw away the vaccines.
100%. But I just think California is such a shit show with handling this whole vaccine situation that other states are putting us to shame. Because I like I said,
other states are as big as LA County.
Right. So everyone's getting the same amount of vaccines, and we just got way more people.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to talk about when it comes to bagels. So this week in the New York Times, an article came out, and the quote of the article was, let me pull it up here real quick. The title of the article was, "The best bagels are in California." And then in parentheses, sorry, New York.
What?
And when I saw this article, I saw it on Instagram first, and then I actually saw the article. It just seems so goddamn clickbaity. And it's written by this guy, or person, I should say, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, Tejal Rao. And I'm not going to hate on them. But like I said, I feel like it's extremely clickbaity, and it's just trying to make an exaggerated point to get clicks on some article. And boy, did it get clicks. I mean, people were sending it to me. People were making memes about it. People were making TikToks about it. Yeah, it was in the zeitgeist. People were definitely talking about it. And I decided to check it out. And basically, he's talking about a bagel shop in Berkeley. This place called Boychik Bagels. Hey, Boychik.
Hey, Boychik.
My father used that all the time, and it's a Jewish name. It's a Yiddish. Boychik.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, it's like a mensch. Boychik.
Yeah.
Hey, Boychik.
Yeah.
Kind of like mensch.
Like a woodchuck.
It's right. It's Yiddish. Yeah. So I clicked on the article and read it, and I'm not going to say, he claims that it's the best NYC bagel, which makes no sense, because if the title of the article is "Sorry, California, the best bagel is in California, not NYC," and then you state in your article that they make a best NYC bagel, then what are you trying to compare here? Then just say the California is the king of bagels. Because if you're trying to replicate a bagel from New York City, aren't you claiming New York City is the best goddamn bagel ever? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying here?
Right. Well, it's like It's weird. It's interesting. It's interesting the level of the level you go with bagels.
My anger.
No, not anger. No, I think it's very entertaining. Like, you've made bagels you've made bagels content.
Well, here's the thing. This would be like me writing a fucking article. I said this to one of my friends. This is like me writing an article for New York Times, be like, New York's got the best tacos. Sorry, California. Or sorry, San Diego. Or sorry, they got the best burritos. Sorry, San Diego. Like, are you serious?
Right.
Like, that would just be a joke of an article. And, I read the article.
Wait, is the parenthesis, like, say the parentheses in a different tone? Is it the best bagels are in California? Oh, wait, sorry, New York.
No,
it's not that.
No.
Okay. I just want to bring perspective. To
I
the
appreciate
Zach Dresler
that.
show.
That's not what I think happened here. So Rao, here's the thing: is I read the article, and Rao claims to once have been, I don't know if he once have been a resident of New York City, Brooklyn specifically, and since has moved out to L.A. And I don't know if that means he was born and raised or not, but if someone says that they've been a resident of New York City, to me that doesn't really give
red flag.
It doesn't give you much clout, because and I'm not trying to shit on people that move to New York, because there's people that move to New York from wherever they're from and become lifers of New York. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that are passerbys. They live from 2 to 5 years or whatever it may be, and they move. And then there's people who are actually born and raised there, stay there their whole life, or they move somewhere else. But the people that are born and raised there usually stay there for a majority of their life. Yeah. I could be wrong.
You have your Larry Davids and your Woody Allens.
Yeah, exactly, right. exactly. Well,
I mean, I don't want to compare the two.
Yes. Oh, sure.
One left at New York and one stayed in New York.
Right. But I mean, they're still true New Yorkers. Do you know what I mean? They're still true New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I just like, unless you, like I said, unless you've been there for 10, 15 years, become a lifer, which many do, it's hard to take someone's, because New York itself, I mean, he says, I'm from New York City, Brooklyn. You just say you're from Brooklyn. I'm from Queens. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's a pride thing when it comes to it. If you're really from these places, like I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Manhattan. Like, you usually say I'm from New York, and people like, oh, from New York City. It's like, no, I'm from, I'm from Albany.
Yeah.
Which is upstate New York. But here's the thing: is that if you were once a resident and you lived in Brooklyn and all you knew was Brooklyn, you probably went to Manhattan a bit and probably Queens every once in a while. And then, depending on how many long you live there, you didn't really experience the full. I mean, there's so many bagel shops, and it's tri-state area, not only including New York and the 5 boroughs, but you talk about Connecticut and New Jersey.
Help me contextualize this.
Okay,
all right.
I will do my best because I'm on a rant.
I've been in LA 5 years. Is Brooklyn like Silver Lake? And like, hey, give me all the boroughs and what borough in LA it would be.
Oh man, it's hard because
obviously Manhattan would be downtown or Beverly Hills or Santa Monica.
It depends. But here's the thing: that's the thing with New York is that
they're not comparable.
New York's landscape and the neighborhoods in New York change. The New York that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s was definitely different than the 2000s. And the New York that I grew up in the 2000s is definitely different than the New York that's happening now in the 2020s. And you could see the gentrification. You see things changing. It's New York. I mean, you can compare a lot of different parts of New York. Manhattan alone, you can compare to different parts of LA. Because again, Manhattan, you have the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, you have Midtown, you have, a Hell's Kitchen, you have the Lower East Side, you have East Village, West Village, Soho. There's all these little areas that are similar. It's like Los Feliz or Los Feliz. There's, Atwater Village, there's Beverly Hills.
It's that same vibe. You get that vibe. Right. Yeah.
Right. And Brooklyn can fall into that because I would say Brooklyn is like, you can compare it to parts of, I would say like East LA where it's downtown swooping into Los Feliz, Highland Park. And then as you go north, it gets nicer because there's actually, there's really nice mansion
coffee
types.
Shops, yoga places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of, there's a lot of different areas, and there's Bronx, there's Staten Island, and it's territorial.
What would Staten Island be in LA? Would that be the South Bay? Would that be Long Beach?
I don't think you could really... Maybe. I don't know if you can compare Staten Island. Staten Island's unique. And it's very unique.
I've heard this too.
And there's a lot of amazing and shitty things that have come out in Staten Island.
Basically, I didn't miss anything by not visiting that borough when I went to New York City.
You don't. I don't think so. Unless you were going to like a Wu-Tang museum, or Pete Davidson museum, one of those two.
Pete Davidson.
But anyway, I just think it's clickbaity. And again, because the bagels in New York, it's not just New York bagels, because I will argue that New Jersey bagels are better than a lot of New York bagels. And people will argue that, and that's the point, is that like, you can't sit here and be like the best bagels in California when it's like, that's bullshit. It's been, and because I'll argue that there's better bagels that are better in Montreal than they are in New York. But if you're going to sit here, and again, I haven't tried this place yet. Maybe I'll go up to the Bay Area and try it. I have, we did Brooklyn Bagel in our most recent one. It wasn't the hype that people thought. It wasn't a terrible bagel, but it wasn't the one that I expected. Again, I got an everything bagel, and I think it was just very different from what my brother got, which is sesame bagel, and I did like the sesame bagel. But you can go check that out if you want. It's posted on the YouTube page. I'll put a little thing here if you want to go watch it. Something interesting happened, not to me, but just in general, and it didn't surprise me. But yesterday I was on Twitter, and a basketball player by the name of Meyers Leonard popped up into my timeline. People were retweeting. And so he's a center for the Miami Heat. And he, how do I put this very politely? He made a racial slur while he was streaming on Twitch.
Oh, fun.
So he is a white NBA basketball player.
Thanks for the context.
just to let you know. Oh, listen. There have been
build this up.
There have been other people that are not white that have made anti-Semitic comments before. An NFL player, Deshaun Jackson. He's made anti-Semitic comments. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. Anyway, so Meyers Leonard was streaming, playing Call of Duty. He's playing Warzone with him and some other streamers or his friends. I'm not sure. I can't really see the picture that well. But, when you stream, people are watching. And there were a lot of people, I guess, watching his stream. Again, he's a basketball player, so he's definitely popular. And I think the people he was playing with were popular. And he's, in the middle of a battle, trying to kill someone. And I'm just going to play the audio for you guys here. So you can listen to it. And that's not going to work because let me do that again. Did I mute myself?
No, my level was down.
Oh, here we go. So this is the short 11-second clip.
Let's go, baby.
Fucking cowards. Don't fucking snipe me, you fucking bitch. Oh. I just dropped that on my head. That didn't even go to fucking, anyways.
Oh. I think he knew it.
Well, sure. I think he knew it too.
Fucked.
I think he knew it as well.
Damn.
And please bleep that out.
Of course.
When we do that. But a lot of people repost it, and it does not surprise me. It does not surprise me because literally, if you look at Meyers Leonard from last year's season, when they were playing in the bubble, a picture comes up of all his teammates, his coaches, all taking a knee with a Black Lives Matter shirt. And this is the only motherfucker on the team that decided to stand with his hand across. So if you're surprised, you shouldn't be. Now,
and
since
if you're the last one doing it, look around, bub.
Right. So since then, obviously, he has come up with an apology, as most people do. Let me see if I could find this apology that he even posted. He didn't even post the apology.
Was he drafted in the 21 season?
Not this season. I think a couple seasons ago. But I'm trying to find this apology. Let's see. It comes off like obviously he didn't write it. It was definitely written by some PR stunt. But he goes, I had no idea what this word meant. I'm like, how do you not know and hear it? Like, how do you not know in this day and age?
He used it.
Yeah, he used it. He knew exactly what he was talking about.
And I don't, and definitely not condoning what he said, but I'm just saying, like, obviously when you play video games, I'm not condoning what he said, but when you play video games, you exasperate in random weird, at least I do.
Sure.
I'll when the turn doesn't go your way or whatever, you say something that I'm not going to say that word.
No, 100%. Listen, This isn't something new in gaming. The racial slurs being slung back and forth. I hear it I play it on a daily basis.
It happens.
There's tons of times, especially in Warzone, I'll kill someone and you can hear 3 seconds called a death comm.
Yeah.
You can hear the death comms, and I have been called an F and F. A P word. I've been called the N word, and it's just people just.
And also, they have no idea you are any of that stuff.
No idea.
So it's actually a representation of their inner self.
It's them. It's them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's and so he's now been, I think, suspended indefinitely. He's going to work on his issues that he says he needs to work on. But I really hope. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the NBA takes a stance and he never plays again. I would like to see Activision delete his account.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe that's too harsh because people
He's just going to start another one.
Sure, but people, you can do. That's the thing the other thing is that Activision needs to look at VPNs and not fucking accounts.
Yeah, IP addresses.
IP addresses. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to expect. It doesn't shock me. I think it was more shocking to me that people were shocked that it happened.
Yeah,
and it's like, come on, are you really shocked?
I also think it's a good reminder too. Like us doing this for I guess quote unquote a living.
Yeah,
it's really easy in a podcast form and so much more easy on a stream to say what you actually like to say something off color. You know what I mean? Where it's like you feel like you're in a game. I'm not obviously you could say it 10 times. I'm not condoning it, but it's a situation where had it been 20 years ago, nobody would have seen this because there would have not been a stream. You know what I mean?
No,
And
no,
it's
I
like,
get it.
it's
I
so
get
weird
it.
because our entire lives are on
all
line
on the
now.
phone, it's all online.
And if you say something off color, even if whether he meant it or not or whatever, it's a moment when you're it's so weird because it's shitty.
No, I get what you're saying, but
You know,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. And you know,
I know it's tough. It's fucked up.
it is. You know, I try to, you know, I mean, I'm conscious not to say any of these words. You know, even as a Jew, you know, I stay away from it. I stay away from all those words. And maybe he heard it from his parents. Maybe he heard it from a friend. It just, you know, you got to question a lot of different things.
Right,
And,
it's also just a terribly sounding word.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just don't want to hear it. I just don't.
No, 100%. Now, someone said to me, well, what if we say, what if he said, you Jew bitch? And listen,
What if he said Jay? Yeah, Jay.
but then you'd be
Then
like,
you
what's a
wanna-
J? Right, exactly.
But what if he? I don't know.
Listen, I mean,
You
my
can go down.
friends, you know, I grew up in New York. I had friends from all races, all ethnicities, and my friends were like, oh, look at this Jew. You know, like we joke around like that all the time. But my black friends, I never slung the word that it's forbidden.
of course. Yeah.
Never in a million years. And I never slung the K word or kike word against my Jewish friends. I'd be like, oh, he's just Jewish, he's cheap, you know, or something along those lines. You know, you gotta be smarter, you know, and you gotta educate yourself. You know, it's one thing to hate and be like, hey, this guy is a pussy and, you know, he shouldn't, you know, they killed me and whatnot. But to sit there and actually be like, this person is, you know, because he sat there, the word didn't just come to him. He sat there, he hesitated. I'll play it again. He hesitated for a good second before he thought about it. Let me play it one more.
Man, those one syllable words. Are really,
Fucking cowards. Don't fucking snipe me, you fucking bitch.
ooh.
I just dropped that on my head. That didn't even go to fucking. Anyways.
Anyways,
I think
Fucking cowards. Don't fucking snipe me, you.
yeah. He opened the filing cabinet. No.
Yep.
Opened another one. No. This one.
And what probably happens is he said it, and then someone in the text be like, "Oh my god, it can't be saying." And he saw it. And he's like, anyways, you know, because who knows where he was going to go with that? Who knows where he was going to go? Listen, there's gas in the game. You're trying to avoid getting, you know, because the circle shrinks. He could have made some comment about 1945 concentration camps and gas. You know, who knows what would have happened if because you could.
Oh yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to predict, but like just listening to that 11-second clip, and he put that whole stream on. If you go to his channel right now, that whole stream is still up on his channel, frying with Tyler TP, Dougie's Raw, and you know, and these guys. One guy has like almost 1 million followers on Twitter. You know, this guy Dougie's Raw has 35,000. Tyler TP, he's got 360,000. And these, you know, ex-pro coach turned content creator, 2014 Call of Duty world champ, streamer, you know, and that's cool. Like, but, and you know, people, I think looked into it, and these guys apparently aren't exactly clean either. They've said some racist shit on their streams as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a mouthful. I didn't expect to go that long. Fuck. But
I also think like this is different than overt racism or overt anti-Semitism, where it's not like, I don't think he's like out to like attack people, where it's like it was a word that he said out of exasperation that is terrible to say, and that if he was thinking and rational, probably wouldn't have said it. But it's such a dicey thing. Man.
It is just shut your mouth.
Yeah.
It's just like but just don't
Yeah.
say anything. It's not. It's, you know. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today.
What team did he play for?
He plays for the. Well, yeah, he did play for the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. Getting that heat.
And the crazy is the main owner is Israeli billionaire.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
You know,
he definitely played for that
in
team.
Miami too. I mean, you know, Florida next to the Northeast and, you know, Southern California has probably one of the largest Jewish populations. Know your market. Know your market. Anyway, that's all for this intro. Let's get Caroline Somerville Nead on the line. We'll have a good chat with her. And joining me right now, as I said at the beginning of the show, my friend Caroline Somerville Nead. How you doing, Caroline?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's been a minute. I feel like, I mean, we stayed in contact through social media, but I haven't seen you in a few years, especially, whether it's been Zoom or something like this. I do like your PJs. We decided to have a PJ. It was actually your suggestion. You're like, can I wear my PJs? And I'm like, let's just do a PJ theme. Let's just do a PJ type of thing.
Because I'm on Central Time, so it's 9:30 in New Orleans right now, and the pandemic, it's turned me into a bit of a grandma. I have to say, I'm in bed or in my pajamas by like 5 p.m.
I'm in my pajamas all day. From when I wake up to when I go. I think I just changed my pajamas. My ritual used to be I wake up in the morning, I shower, I put my clothes on, I go to work or whatever I have to do. And I did that in the beginning of the pandemic. But as we've gotten like just more into this, and it's going to end eventually, but I feel like everything's changing. I've now done just get up, go to your desk, do work, and then I'll shower at some point after work before I go to bed and change my pajamas.
You got your daytime PJs and your nighttime PJs.
Yeah, yep. I don't even know if my jeans fit anymore, to be honest.
I tried mine on once, and I was like, well, these are uncomfortable.
It is. I think I tried them on. I think I'd put them on for Thanksgiving because my parents wanted to do a Zoom thing. My parents were like, can you please put on pants? I'm like, great. I have some Nike pants. I'm like, can you please put on some type of other than like, acrylic fabric? I'm like, sure, I'll put jeans on. I put my jeans on and I didn't even put my belt on. And I just felt so uncomfortable. I'm like, these just it doesn't feel right anymore.
For me, it's like my legs they rejected my jeans. They're just like, these. They're just not comfortable. And I have like Madewell jeans. I have expensive jeans, like work jeans.
Yeah.
I wear jeans all the time. That was my uniform. Black jeans all the time.
Yeah.
And not anymore. Joggers, PJs, leggings.
Yeah.
Give me that activewear.
I should have bought stock in a lot of different activewear. I mean, I bought stock in Nike before the pandemic started. So, and I've been I usually buy all Nike shit anyway. Just because I like I mean, it used to be an Adidas head, now I'm a Nike guy. But all I've done is buy activewear. It's literally all I've been using is activewear. I don't have any. I know where my jeans are, but I don't use them. And I bought in too many shirts now. I mean, it's like t-shirts. Like I have a whole closet full of button downs, and I put one on for a job interview 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Let me just put on a sweater. I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like, I don't know if I don't know if it'll ever come back. Who knows? I'm sure it will, but
I went for, I guess, like I don't even know what to call it, like social distancing backyard cocktails. I don't know what we should call this now, but
being safe and trying to be social. How about that?
Yeah. And I was like, well, what should I wear? Because I haven't seen my friends in a really long time. And, we chat on the phone. I called up my friend prior and I was like, what are you wearing to your own event?
I will go off what you do, and then from there we can decide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how many Instagram stories and Snapchat stories and, just posts in general I have made on certain people's feeds because I've gone out just not giving a fuck. Like my hair is all over the place. I don't even brush my teeth. Like I look like. I mean, thank God I have the mask because then nobody can see what's going on. But
I read somewhere that we're all once we sort of like figure out the whole like demask situation, we're all gonna have to readjust our mouths because they're all gonna be like so expressive or not expressive depending on who you are.
I'm concerned. So I'm looking for work right now, and I'm concerned that like eventually when I get a job and have to go into the office, and we're not wearing masks, people are going to see my facial looks I'm giving them. Like, really? Like all this nasty like looks I'm giving them. I need to be. We're gonna have a big issue with that. I think we're gonna have a lot of issues. I mean, people were like, I remember who was it? I think it was not my girlfriend, but maybe one of her friends. Like, is this what it feels like to have a beard all the time? And I go, I mean, sure. I mean, not here, you can breathe. But yeah, that's what it feels like to have a beard. And even
at first, oh, sorry, I didn't.
No.
At first, I was like, "This is so cool! It's like I'm on Grey's Anatomy. I'm wearing a mask. This is awesome." and I was like, "Wow, I feel so really cool. I'm on a TV show." And then it just got old, like the third day in.
Everyone's like, "Can I be McDreamy by wearing this mask? Because that's what's going on." Yeah, my mask. I grew a really big beard the first 3 months of the quarantine. Oh. So when I felt safe to go outside of the street in the grocery store and I wore a mask, I was like, do I need 2 masks? Because I feel like I need to cover both the bottom of my beard because it would just stretch over. I didn't have any control of it. I couldn't,
I have a small face. So I had to find different masks that either didn't fall off or just like covered what I needed to. I don't know. It was very odd.
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
I have a huge head, a huge face. And so I went through about 2 or 3 different brands of masks because they were like, yeah, one size fits most, which I should have realized, Halloween costumes, most is not me. And so I would get these, I remember the first mask I have, I think I still have in my car, is like an emergency backup mask. It literally just covered right here, just around my mouth, nothing else. And I'm like, this seems, I feel like if I had to talk very hello, how are you? I couldn't really move my lips that much. Thank you very much. And then someone was just like, dude, you need to get a bigger mask. And I was like, all right, you're right. Yeah, I gotta splurge the $15 to $20 to get a better mask.
But at least someone told you, because I feel like there's still people walking around with those small masks, and I've seen them, and I want to go up, but I'm scared because
you don't know who you're gonna deal with. You don't know who. I feel like at this point you just let them be. Because you don't know what kind of crazy person they're going to be. Like, you don't tell me to wear my mask.
Exactly.
The whole mask debacle in general. I mean, we can go on for debating this forever, but
I know.
It's just people. I've never met people so hardened about you're impending on my freedoms by putting this mask on me. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But the thing is, it's funny because I don't know if sorry. I haven't talked to a person in a really long time.
And I apparently have never taken a sip of water while talking to someone in a really long time. I just choked my brains out. I'm so sorry. Go on. Sorry. Continue.
I don't even remember.
You haven't talked to someone in a really long time face to face. Yeah, I get that. Me too.
Yeah. Well, so I'm in between. So I'm in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I was in Birmingham.
Okay.
For 2.5 years almost. And I have to go back to get all my stuff to bring it to New Orleans. So I'm in between. And I've gone back in October, this past October. I forgot what month we were in.
It's a day. It's just a year and a day. We don't know what it is. It's just happening.
No. Well, so I went back, and what's funny is that, we all know it's by state, by city, all the things. I felt like I was in a completely different country. I have to say, it was like people were just walking around.
Not a care in the world.
Well, it wasn't even not a care in the world. It was like I don't know if they weren't watching the news or if they were watching the news and didn't care, or if they did care, they were just like, we're not going to care, or they were just going to live their lives no matter what, which, hey, power to them. But personally, I was so scared. I just stayed in my apartment for 3 days, and then I just boogie-oned home back to New Orleans because here everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing or what the government's telling us to do. And then, it's weird to go into a different state and just feel awkward because you're wearing a mask.
Yeah. No, I completely get that. My brother currently, he lives in Los Angeles, but this week he went to New York. And, just even flying on a plane, people are just below their nose, or some people are taking advantage of, well, if I'm eating, I don't need to wear a mask. And people are just bringing ridiculous grocery bags full of food while they're just going to eat the whole plane ride. And it's like, how ridiculous do you have to be to just beat a system? It's like, just wear the mask. People always, I remember when I think it was over the summer, I was waiting outside for food at a taco stand. And some guy was like, he was like, so do you really think those masks work? And I go, nope, but my leg's doing. I'm walking away from this goddamn conversation because I don't need to have it with you. Go fuck yourself. Like, it's just like, why are people they wouldn't be so combative about it? They want to confront, and I guess, people who aren't wearing the mask feel the same way about people who can, go up to them and approach them about wearing a mask.
Right.
But like the protest, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But, speaking on the same thing of COVID, so you're from New Orleans. You're a New Orleans native, born and raised, which we'll get to in a moment. But within the past week, you got the vaccine, which I'm super jealous of because I can't find anyone to give me a vaccine. And, and I feel like everywhere else and every other, my family in New York, New Jersey, they have pretty much all been vaccinated or at least got the first round. My friends in Massachusetts, but here in California, they're like, all right, maybe you'll get one before the summer. Cool.
God.
So I want to ask, which one did you get and how do you feel to start off?
Okay, so I got Johnson & Johnson.
Okay, good, because I'm glad you got it because Indy and I were talking about this before the show started. So
what do you think
continue.
I got? Were you like putting bets on it?
No. We were just talking about which one do we want, and I was like, I don't know if I want the Johnson & Johnson one because our only covers up to 80%, where Moderna gives you 90%, 96 or something percent. And Indy brought up a really good point, which is like Moderna and Pfizer are they give you the mRNA, which gives you the antibodies are supposedly for it, whereas the Johnson & Johnson is the actual COVID. It's actually COVID that they're giving you. So this way your body will, So anyway, go on. So you got it. How did you get it? I'm curious. Did you reach out? Like, what happened?
So there was a couple of things that happened. And number one, I have to say, were you talking about me in the last episode? Because I canceled. And it was like at the very beginning of your episode, you were like, if you know, because you're not here.
Oh, maybe. I don't even remember. Was that the case? Hey, somebody listened. It's good. Somebody listened. That's good. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, listen.
It could have been. It could have been. Here's the thing is that you're not the only person to cancel, so don't feel bad about that. So it could have been literally anybody. I have to go back and listen because I don't think. No, it wasn't.
Felt very.
No,
I was like,
it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
Me?
No, it was not you because when we talked about canceling, it was the day after the show.
Okay.
So it was someone else that was canceled because there were a couple people that canceled future events, and so I was just like, they're busy.
I felt very attacked.
Oh no! I would never attack anybody. I only attack people I don't know. It's the best way to meet people, just to attack them. So there is a Facebook group called NOLA Vaccine Hunters, which was started, I believe, by a Tulane Medical Center, either doctor or he's, trying to be a doctor. Studying to become one, sure.
Yeah, going through the stages, and he decided to help his fellow man to make a Facebook group called NOLA Vaccine Hunters. And so everybody's posting on this thing, like, I went and stood outside a hospital, and they gave me the Pfizer or the Moderna because they had leftovers. And I was like, okay, all right. I'm not eligible. I don't really want to stand outside of a hospital. But this was, I believe, like 2 or 3 months ago, and my dad's 71. So I've been on the hunt for him. Once they said 70-year-olds, get on that phone call, it was like my mom and my dad and we were just like calling this one number, and they would place us on hold, all these things, and he got it. He got Pfizer. So then my mom also, sorry, I know the question was about me, but it's like backtrack.
No. So, go ahead. Tell the story. Tell the whole story.
So my mom was not eligible by age, but she was eligible for medical reasons. So we call the same number, we get her on the list, and she couldn't get it because they didn't have any appointments open. And then randomly some lady called her the next day and said, hey, can you come to this hospital in 30 minutes? It's yours. Like, it felt, I've never been in a drug deal, but it legit sort of felt like some back alley shit. Okay. Like,
it sounds like it.
And I was like, hop in the car, I'm driving. So I'm driving my mom, drop her off at the hospital. She gets the Pfizer, she gets the little paper. We're both like, oh my gosh, like 2 down, 1 to go. So then I'm like, okay, if my entire family can get it, I bet there's a way. Like, if you have a will, you can get this thing. Like, I feel like, yes, there's eligibilities. Yes, they're trying to get it through. But I feel like, I don't know, in like the depths of my heart, I was like, okay, I have to try. I have to really try. So I get on this Facebook group again, and they say, if you go to the hospital, they're, because if I don't know, and my mom and I were trying to figure this out the other day. It's like, I think they have like pallets of the vaccine, right? Yeah. And if they don't make it through the whole pallet,
they got to
check them.
Yep.
So these people were just standing outside of hospitals, and you go up and you say, hey, I'm here for the extras. And you just wait there.
I'm here for the good stuff. I'm ready for the good stuff when you want to tell me some good stuff.
So I went and I waited for 3.5 hours, and some girl in front of me, like, they kept calling everybody's name. One of the receptionists came out. They were like, we got extras. Just stay put. And we were like, okay, like, we got this. Like, this is it. And this was 3 weeks ago. And then the girl, we were all like talking, social distancing outside of a hospital, which doesn't seem safe at all by the emergency room.
We're by ground zero of the coronavirus, but hey, we're good. We're getting this vaccine.
And so we're trying to figure out like when everybody came, because then we would figure out what number we were, in line. And then this girl told me that she came at a certain time and I came 5 minutes after her. So I assumed that I was sort of after her. They called her name. And then literally 30 minutes later, the receptionist came out and was like, we're done for the day. And I was like, ugh, I know, that was literally how I felt. And I was like, okay, if I've made it this far, I gotta keep trying. So there's this number that my mom got texted via either her friend or via the hospital, because she was still on the list somehow. And they said that they were opening mass vaccinations at the convention center. And to call this number if you want it, but it didn't say if there was any eligibility. And that day I even called the Mississippi CDC people or whatever to say, like, can I even drive to Mississippi? But you had to be a resident. And I was like, well, I work in film production. Like, well, maybe I could just say that I work in film production and I'm technically not really a resident, but I work in Mississippi, even though I really haven't in a year. Right. So, and ever, but I could lie, like, it was just like such a mind like puzzle on how to get this thing. And then I called, it was like, I had all these numbers and I kept calling, and I finally called the convention center hotline. And I told them that I had elderly parents, and they're like, okay, well, you're not a healthcare worker. And I was like, I know.
And I have elderly parents. So shouldn't that count as somewhat?
I go to the store for them. Yeah. Like, they're, my dad's 71. I mean, he could go to the store. He got the vaccine, but like, he still doesn't want to. So I go for him. And then I basically said, so at that point there was, I guess, like 20 or so things that you had to be. And because of COVID, like, this is because of the pandemic. I mean, we've all gained weight, right?
Oh, yes.
So,
yes,
so absolutely. We're all in the obese category on the BMI chart register. Yep. So I am technically obese. So for my height, I should be like 100 pounds, but I'm not.
Right.
So, because I'm 5'2". So I said that I was obese because technically I am. And I met the eligibility, and they said, here's your appointment. Can you go tomorrow at 7 a.m.? So
maybe I do that tomorrow instead. Because all I've been doing is hearing like, hey, go to CSUN East Los Angeles because they have, a vaccination center there. And if you go between the hours of like 4 and 6, they'll have those extras for you, because they got, like you said, they got to dispose of them, because once they're thawed, they can only use for a certain amount of time, and they're not going to wait over, they can't be rethawed. So like I was going to do that on Monday. My buddy whose friend got it done the week before, he went, one of his friends went on Sunday, and the vaccination center was closed. They ran out of vaccines. So then I was told, just go in downtown Los Angeles, because downtown Los Angeles, most of the residents have left, and there's just tons of CVS's and Walgreens. And, if you call them up, they'll put you on a waiting list, but then go to the store after. So I did that on Wednesday. I went to Walgreens. I put my name, I called them up, put them on a waiting list, and I waited outside from like 4 to 6. And, same thing happens. Like, sorry, we're out of vaccines. Like,
Yeah.
So now I called a CVS that's in downtown, and they're like, hey, unfortunately, our waiting list is full, and Friday is the last day of the clinic because we're closing down the clinic after that because we're out of vaccines. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm running around in circles trying to get it. I'm seeing everyone else get it. And I know it's not like I'm going to get it and then go, I'm free and running around without a mask, but it just, it gives me that reassurance that protection and reinsurance.
I mean, feel good.
Yeah. And like, if I need to go home and see my folks, my dad has it, my stepmom has it, I just want to feel a little bit more safe.
Here's the thing. If you do get it, because I sort of felt like guilty after I made my appointment. I was like, should I have done that?
No.
And then I was like, you know what? No, because there are people who are eligible who are anti-vaxxers and don't want it.
Yep.
So you are taking those anti-vaxxer spots, and then you are going to help save the world.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. And I also think that, here's my other theory is that, I think in a month and 2 from now, everyone's gonna be able to get it because like you said, there's going to be people that just don't want the vaccine, and there's going to be extras laying around, and they're just going to, people are just going to be like, okay, well, next one up. And then,
and they're going to open it. I mean, literally 2 days ago, I think they opened it up to 16 and older if you have some crazy.
Yeah, see here in California, it's still 65 and up because California is a huge state, so they're still behind. Well, they're not behind. It's hard to explain because it's numbers. It's like your percentages. So if you have a larger state, and you're still getting the same amount of vaccines that Mississippi, New Orleans, Louisiana, or New York, or California, New Jersey get, you're still only be able to vaccinate so many people, and so. We have vaccinated 11 million people. Well, there's 53 million people in California. So that's not, that's a good number.
It's crazy. But although I would recommend to anyone who's listening, but also to you or even Indy, like I have heard, because this happened to my neighbor he just went to a pharmacy that was kind of like you said, like a downtown, it's like somewhere that you wouldn't think, like kind of like a local pharmacy, not CVS, not Walgreens,
not a national chain, like a small,
chain. They might have some extras, and you can just go in. And I would even recommend, like, I started at 3:00 because by a certain point they stopped taking appointments, right? Point. So if you go at 3 and you put your name down, and let's say they already have like maybe 10 people, and let's say they call 5 of them and none of them answer, and you're under that and you're there, then they're going to give it to you. Yep. I mean, that happened to my best friend.
And then they have to, depending on if it's the Moderna or the Pfizer, you have to get the second one. They'll automatically schedule for it.
And they should automatically. Sometimes they don't, and you have to go to mywalgreens.com. That happened to my best friend.
Oh, shit.
She was with her parents, and it was the end of the day, and they both got Moderna, and the pharmacist was like, well, we have this one left. Do you want it? And she's like, I don't want it. Please give it to someone who's eligible. And this was like, at the beginning. And she was like super like, no. And then they were like, well, if you don't take it, we're going to chuck it. So she rolled up her sleeve and she took it. But then they said, we can't schedule you. You have to go to mywalgreens.com and then schedule.
That's annoying.
Yeah. But at least they got scheduled.
So you got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yes.
How do you feel? So how did you feel? How did you feel the day after, or, over the course of the next few days? So
I got it that morning at 7. And I thought I was feeling great. Like, I was like, woohoo, I got the shot. I went in and I cried in the convention center. And some lady came up to me and she was like, do you need a hug? And I was like, can we even hug right now? Like, I was just like mind boggled. I mean, the system itself was spectacular. I mean, our convention center is really big and they made the system happen. So I cried multiple times. I should have taken a selfie. I didn't. I was just like, this is insane. It was also way too early for me. And I only had a half a cup of coffee at that point. So I was just like super tired and emotions. And then I was fine for the rest of the day until 5:00. And I got the chills. I was freezing. I don't know what was going on. It felt like everything just like kicked in at once.
Yeah.
And I was hot, and then I was cold, and I was hot and cold all night long. And I got to actually 101 degree fever at like 9:00.
Wow.
And then I took a I took a, we looked at my dad actually, because I spent the night at my parents because I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, just watch me, you know? And my dad looked up the CDC guidelines on like what to do, because it's at that point, it was like that day they released the guidelines for Johnson & Johnson. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. So, on like what to take if you have the chills. So they said, take a Tylenol. So, but I don't really take Tylenol. So I took one extra strength Tylenol and one regular strength Tylenol.
Mixing it up.
And then I just slept it off. And the next day I was like, meh, like 50%, just like hanging in, just, you know.
Did you have any body aches too, or just chills and just tiredness?
I was chilly and achy,
okay.
But I'd also worked out the day before, so I wasn't sure if I was achy because of my workout or because of this. But the next day I just took it easy. I felt, you know, and then the next day I was 100%.
Okay.
It's like, this is amazing. I can conquer the world. I feel back to normal. So.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Cause I've heard different things. Like everyone reacts differently. Like my stepmom got Moderna and her arm hurt and she felt like she got chills and body aches and a low grade fever like you did. And then other people who've got Moderna and Pfizer, they're like, I didn't feel anything.
Yeah. Like I mean, both my parents got Pfizer. They were fine. My mom was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
My dad took a nap, but I felt it. I actually took it in my dominant hand. And I felt it like a couple of days. Like I still sort of feel the injection site, just like where they put the needle in, but it's because it's muscle. You're putting a needle in muscle.
I get the same thing when they do the flu shot for me. The flu shot for me, because I always put it on my left. I'm like, I'm a lefty. Can you please put it on my right? And you just feel it. Like it just feels like someone was just slowly punching in your arm and giving you a bruise for the next, like, you know, an hour. And so it's just, you're recovering it.
I mean, whoever's like listening in or whatever, just don't be afraid. I mean, just think of it like a flu shot, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it will save your life though.
I'm excited to get it. I mean, I'm always nervous about needles and stuff, but I'm excited to get it. Let's switch lanes here for a second. I'm glad you got vaccinated. I'm jealous, really, you got vaccinated. But you know, I do want to talk about New Orleans. You are, like you said, you are born and raised, which is awesome. I feel like, I don't know, I don't mean to crap on people that aren't born and raised in a cool city like New Orleans, New York, San Diego, Los Angeles, you know, but I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like we get to experience something different growing up and have a little bit more broader view of the world. But I've only been to New Orleans once. I went in 2019. I went for like a long weekend. I had a blast. And I didn't know what to expect, because here's the thing is I'm not a drinker. I'm not a big drinker at all. And I know, you know, there's Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesdays. You can walk down the street with, you know, alcohol in your hand. No one cares. But the food is just exceptional. It's exceptional. And like, you know, I'm from New York where the food is fantastic. You know, it's you know, you can't beat it. But the food there is just, it's different. It's a different type of love that's made with it. And I don't know if I definitely didn't get to cover every single restaurant that I went to, but I you know, or every restaurant that was in New Orleans. I mean, I definitely walked out of there 10 pounds heavier, because I feel like that's what you do.
Yeah.
But to you, I mean, being a native, we'll get into it. What are your top, give me 5 like places that, you know, you love to go eat, or like the places that are, you know, top 5 places you love to eat in New Orleans.
Okay. So
I know you got to lay it out. I
have it written down.
Okay.
But I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because so being in the pandemic, I have created new favorites. However, it depends, because I mean, you know, it's amazing food, but some food doesn't travel very well.
Of course.
So there's food that I love.
Oh,
that
interesting. Yes, because you can't eat the restaurant.
And the ambience, and it's amazing. And then there's some food that it's like, even if you get it to go, it's just as good. So like pre-COVID or right now?
Let's do both. Let's do pre-COVID, so this way we can make something of it with pre-COVID once everything opens.
Even after COVID.
Yeah, let's do pre-COVID and then do the list while in COVID, because I'm curious as that as well.
Yeah. So Okay, number one, hi-hat. I don't know
I
if
didn't
it
get
was
to go.
around when you went. It's most of these restaurants are, I'd say, not in downtown because
Okay.
I don't really venture into the quarter very often.
I feel like it's very touristy. It's probably touristy, right?
It is, but it's also the parking's really hard.
Oh,
So,
makes sense.
it's if you know where to park, you park, but then it's like you just don't enter if you don't need to.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's the same way I feel about New York and Times Square. Like, being from New York, I avoided Times Square except I had to go for work there, but I avoided it like the plague because it's just, there's nowhere to park. It's very commercial. It's very trafficy, all that stuff.
Yeah. So hi-hat,
Okay.
I'd say Le Petit Grocery,
Been there. Loved it.
loved it.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I don't remember. I just remember going to the store. Because here's the thing. It was such I brought a vape pen and I smoked a lot of weed so it's just like one blur of like, I think I did Cafe du
Of
Monde
this
twice
bug.
in one day. I went to Giacomo's. I went to all these places and it just blends. It just
So you
blends.
bounced around. I was going to ask if you stayed in the quarter because some people come and stay in the quarter and they're like, we had such a great time. And I'm like, but did you go other places?
No, we stayed. Our Airbnb was like a street away outside the quarter, right where like all the jazz bars are. But we ventured outside of the quarter as well. I mean, we went to a couple places outside. We didn't go super far, but
that's what I would call good touristing because I feel like a lot of people don't venture and there's so many other places that you can go.
Well, again, it's the same thing with New York. When tourists come to New York, they go to the middle. They go to Times Square because there's 30 Rock there. There's the middle of Times Square, Broadway, all that stuff. But to me, the authentic parts of Manhattan are not in Times Square. They're Upper East Side, Upper West Side, Soho, NoHo, Prince Street, all that stuff, Lower East Side. That's to me is still original New York.
Yeah. So okay, so hi-hat, Le Petit Grocery, Casamento's Oyster Bar, or you just call it Casamento's.
Okay.
And that's how much was
That's
that?
three.
Was 3. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm keeping track too.
Thank you. Costera, which is, I'd say it's 4 years new.
Okay.
They do Spanish style cuisine. Their big thing is paellas. And you wouldn't think, like, you'd be like, ooh, like, why would I go to New Orleans for Spanish cuisine? But I'm telling you now, just go.
Okay. Listen, I had great Israeli Middle Eastern cuisine at God, what was the name of the restaurant? Started with an S. I can look it up. Continue. Sorry, continue. I'll look it up.
Shea?
Yes.
See, that's not on my list because I haven't been there yet.
Okay, but I went there because I got a recommendation. I went to there and it was fantastic.
So good.
Yeah.
So I live around where Shea is.
That's a nice area.
It's a great area.
It's a lovely area.
Most of these restaurants are actually at least 6 feet. Not 6 feet. 6 blocks away.
Around. Okay.
Or 8 blocks. And then I'm throwing a pizza in there. Ancora.
And what is it called?
Ancora.
Okay.
Ancora.
What kind of pizza is it, if you don't mind me asking? Is it like thin crust barred, Chicago, New York?
It's thin crust.
Okay.
It's like Italian, kind of like flatbready. They got a stone.
Yeah. I'm into it. I love it.
They have the fire.
I love it.
And they have family, so they have this whole thing where it's like their family made the sauce and he's doing cool things with the pizza. I just really like their anchovy pizza, so I'm putting that on there.
Okay.
But I got tons. If anybody wants a rec, message me, figure it out, contact me, and I'll give you a rec. And also it's snowball season, and I'm putting like a asterisk. Hanson snowballs are probably my favorite snowballs.
And so what's a snowball?
Oh, so it's a cup with ice. It's like a snow cone.
Okay.
It's a snow
I could
cone.
have figured that out. I was like, it's probably a snow cone, but I just wanted to be like, it's a snow cone. And be like, it's nothing like a snow cone.
It's nothing like a snow cone. So it's usually in a cup with just ice, like a snow cone, but it's a ball.
Okay.
And so there's like everybody has their place, right? Like everybody has their pizza place. Everybody has their hot dog stand. if you grow up going to a certain place, that's your place. Or you can change it to like a different place. But I know the owners, she creates fantastic flavors. She's been around for like 70 plus years.
Okay.
I mean, you can't beat that.
No, that's old school right there. That's old school. So what are the restaurants now that travel well in terms of, takeout and everything that you have? What's the 5 that you have that you love?
Okay, so the reason why they travel well is my parents and I do takeout together, and our criteria is containers.
Mm-hmm.
If it reheats without reheating. So if you just like stick it in the oven and you turn the oven off and it's still just as good.
Okay.
Or we did a thing for Christmas where they gave us the instructions and they were foolproof, stupid proof, and we did it and it was still taste amazing. So hi-hat's one of them. I'd say Ancora's one of them. We figured out the whole reheat pizza thing, and once we did, it's
okay.
become. Also, they do meatballs, and what we do is we put the meatballs, and they come 3, and there's only 3 of us.
Perfect.
So we put them in a saucepan, and we just reheat them on the stove, and they're just as good as real life.
Yeah, meatballs you can do that with. That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want some meatballs.
And then, so Ralph's on the Park, which is by City Park, they do, we did that for holidays, and Christmas was good. New Year's was like, they could have done better, but it was still amazing. They reheated well. And then, is it even on here? Hold on. Okay, so we did like Tex-Mex, Superior Grill, not Superior Grill seafood, but Superior Grill Mexican taqueria. And they came in like giant foil takeout containers, right?
Okay.
I mean, I got a quesadilla, like nothing crazy. Because this is the first time we ventured out to this place. We weren't sure if it would be good for to go. Also, we got margaritas to go. So that's just like a point right there.
Yeah.
And they gave it to us in portable, travel friendly.
Well, it was going to taste good regardless of how long you were holding it. Yeah, perfect.
So I think that's 5, maybe 4 or 5. But
that's good. What do you think is like? So I mean, because I feel like, because I got my places in New York too. But what are the overrated places that get a lot of attention that you think just are just overrated? Whether it's restaurants or bars, whatever it may be. Oh
gosh, I feel like I have a ton, but like it's tough because I feel like they have good food, but it's like you say, like it's like we got to go there, Yeah. I would say Commander's Palace, Galatoire's, Gautro's, like I think French, anything.
Gautro's.
Yeah, like I mean, it's good food. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's a time and a place. Like I love Commander's Palace because they have when I could go, they had a lunch special with 25-cent martinis, and it was a set menu. Ooh. And I could go with my girlfriends, and I did like a little brunch with them one time, and it was amazing. That's nice. And it didn't break the bank, right?
Yeah.
However, it's like I feel like everyone goes there.
Yeah. No, I get that. It is the same thing with me when I remember Shake Shack wasn't a national chain. It was just in New York. And people were like, Shake Shack is the best burger in New York. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's literally a million other places that make better burgers than Shake Shack for cheaper, just better meat. And it's just, again, because it's a tourist attraction, it's in the center of, middle of Times Square that people would just go to it, or Madison Square Park. But I could never get into it. And I feel like, again, that's good to know about all those places. I feel like I went to a couple of those because I was just walking by, like, we should go here. This seems like a long line.
And also, like, I mean, what's it? The place you get hurricanes from. Pato's. I love Pato's. I went there when I was. Pato's, yeah. See, see everybody. Everybody's gone. Everybody's gotten the hurricane.
Yep.
You go in, you go to the piano bar, you have fun. I've done it a million times, but I only go when I have friends in town
who want to go,
who have never gone.
Yep.
And then I'm like, yeah, we got to go.
Yep.
It's like going to the Quarter. It's like, we got to go to the Quarter because you've never been to the Quarter.
Yeah.
And then I'm over it by literally
an hour
seconds.
into it, right? Yeah, exactly. So I know this might be crazy, but let me Cafe Du Monde.
And I love my city. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my city.
I get it.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like, we have so much that I feel like, and that's sort of why I don't know if you said this previous, but I'm making this channel. It's called Crescent City Caroline. And it's kind of like, one of the things that I want to explore on it is like the unbeaten path of like being a tourist in your own city, but also not going to the places that I should advertise, because everybody knows that they should go to these places.
Right.
Like, what about other places?
Right. The smaller non-popular place, well, not popular, but the smaller places that don't get enough attention.
Exactly.
No, I completely agree. And I'm glad we talked about your channel, because I wanted to talk about that as well. I watched a lot of content, and it sucks because I feel like you were really making a lot of stuff, and then the pandemic hits. So there's only so much you can make when it comes to that type of content. When do you feel? I mean, how, other than the shutting down the city, how else has the pandemic has affected you and the city in general?
I think the city's trying. As a resident, it's so hard because I was here during Katrina.
Yeah.
And it reminds me during Hurricane Katrina, where it's like we had a pause and everybody sort of thought about it. And I feel like New Orleanians in general just sort of think for like a hot minute, and they're like, okay, what can we do? They don't just go, right? They reevaluate, and then they say, okay, we're a port city. Okay, so there's no cruises. So, okay, AKA convention center, like there's the basketball, that's not happening, or it's not happening here, so it's just like, what can we reuse for certain things? And then it's also, okay, well, Mardi Gras didn't happen this year. And then a lot of places suffered because Mardi Gras didn't happen. The economy kind of dipped. I mean, I think people have been trying, and they've been successful on, okay, how can we target our not just tourist industry, but how can we target the people who live here?
The locals.
Because those are the people who have been here 365 days a year.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, and because I think every city is having their own issues, especially tourist cities like that, because every city has its own little tourist attraction and its way to survive, but it also needs to keep the people that have been there for the rest of their lives, been there for most of their lives, happy and keep the economy booming. It's gonna. I mean, everything's going to resurge eventually. I find it. I always want to ask different regions how they're recovering or how they're handling it, because it's out here. I feel like it's just it's a shit show.
I know. Well, I was thinking about all the people in LA the other day, because I feel like I have a lot of friends who are in the industry, same as you. You're in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I don't know about you, but I mean, they're starting to film stuff here, and I've seen it throughout the year, and I don't know if I'm ready to get back on set, because I mean, even though I have the vaccine, I have to wait a couple of days, but it's still like, even though they have people on set who are supposed to, like make sure people are doing what they're supposed to do, I feel like they're not doing that. I haven't seen it.
It's like a protocol, but it's not a followed protocol. I get you. And I've had that issue as well, because there've been times I've been up for gigs, and then the filming shooting stops because protocol's been broken or someone gets sick. At this point, I'm ready to get back into it, regardless of how I feel, because I'm one of those people that need to stay busy, and I just feel and I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm wasting more hours in the day not being busy than being busy. It's I'm curious to see how this is all, in terms of production is going to happen across the world, because I know Atlanta's going crazy right now. Atlanta's got a lot of production going on.
Well, Tyler Perry has his own bubble.
Yep, and smart.
Which is pretty cool. It's smart. I'm glad he has it. I wish that more people would say, okay, we got to do it like Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but absolutely.
I don't know. It's just a toss up. Like, because I'm like you, I have to stay busy, but then it's like, I want to be safe. And it's also the mental sanity of like, holy crap, I'm going back into the world.
Yeah.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a hard thing to discuss because I feel like people will be like, I'm not ready until everything is completely clear and the protocols are fine. And then there's people who are like, I'm ready to do whatever. And then I feel like those people butt heads because it's like you're not following the protocol and you're jumping ahead. It's like, but I need money. I need to work. What do I do? You know, it's hard. It's a hard thing to compromise. I mean, United States is one of the most independent thinking countries, but also comes a lot of consequences because of that, because no one wants to, you know, everyone thinks their opinion is right and they'll do whatever it takes regardless of what science and facts matter.
Yeah.
But a couple more things before I let you go.
Oh, no, you're fine. I feel like it's so funny. We get into conversations and then it's like we're both like, oh God, how can we get positive again?
No. This has been great. I mean, listen, this is a conversation that ever needs to happen. You know, positivity. The interviews I do with people, there's negative parts of it, there's positive parts of it, and there's learning parts of it. And this has been a great interview because I learned about the Johnson & Johnson shot, because I'll tell you what, last week I was like, I don't want that fucking shot. I want the Moderna or the Pfizer shot. But it's good to know.
I didn't want it either. I was like, oh, Pfizer came out first. I want Pfizer. But I think I was thinking about it. I feel like they kind of all share, or I'm not a doctor, so maybe I should be saying this stuff. However, I feel like they should all share some form of the same DNA structure, and they all work.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, the two questions I have for you left is, we talked about your website, we talked about your YouTube channel, and your work and everything you do. We're in the same field. In the series you want to make about New Orleans, and and then the content you want to make. But what is your ultimate series, movie, TV show, or whatever, like I said, digital content that you want to make? What is something, and you don't have to share it because it might be an original idea and I don't want you to give it away, but is there something like you're jazzed about, they've been working on, that you want to spill a little bit of it? And again, if you don't want to, it's totally fine. We can go into the next question, which is, or the last question, which I wanted to ask about Cappy Dumont stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So it kind of, I guess, all stems from trying to be creative again, so I've worked in the industry for years, right. I feel like, and it's weird to say that because I'm like, wait, have I? But I have. I counted the years the other day. I've been doing this since maybe a year after college. I mean, I worked with you at BuzzFeed for almost a year. And then from there, I think it was 3 months later, I jumped onto TV shows and films, and I was always helping someone else, right, with their dream. Right. And so I learned a lot along the way. And I was even a runner at Frame Store, and I was getting people coffee, and I was like, this shit sucks. Yeah, like, and I was like, just being like a kitchen junkie, just like washing people's shit. And it was awful. But then I was like, okay, I'm in this place where I think we're with my parents, kind of. I'm trying to move here. I think like all YouTubers, I'm probably going to do some moving vlogs here and there. However, I think it's like a time, if whoever's listening and they're in this situation too, just think about like, if you've been furloughed or you got let go or you quit your job because you were just tired of everything and you're ready to go back to work, just use this time to like do what you want. I mean, even if you don't have the money, I mean, I barely do, but I think it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you just sit down and say, hey, I want to make a movie, or like, hey, I want to make a podcast. Yeah. Hey, I want to do this thing. Yes, it's going to take some time. I've had if you look at I was looking at my channel the other day and I was like, should I even be doing this? Like, I suck at this. No, the answer is yes. Yeah. But I think the thing is, it's like, you just got to keep going with it. You just got to keep you got time. Like, it's not like we don't have time, right? We're all sitting around.
Even post-pandemic, you still have time to do stuff.
Yeah. And so, I mean, a good example is Sarah Hines, right? I don't know if you remember her. She was in my intern class and she was like, fuck this shit. I'm making a movie, right? And now I think she's getting her master's somewhere. So like in between going, or maybe she has her master's already, but like in between all this, she was just like, I'm going home, I'm saving money, I'm making a movie. you know, and I think it was on Amazon. You could rent it for a while. Maybe it's still on there. But I think it's just like one of those things where you just have to dial it in, ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want to work for corporate? Do you want to work for a movie? Do you want to make other people's dreams happen? Do you have your own dreams?
Yep.
And so that's sort of where I'm at. I have dreams and I want to make them happen. I have a couple of ideas that I'm currently trying to just figure out because I've always been a producer. So I've never actually, even if I've been in front of the screen a little bit, or just like a little character here and there, I've never put myself first as the main character. So that's a struggle for me. And it's like, I made a couple of videos and I was doing really great in August and July. And then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, am I good at this? Is this okay? Like, should I like dial it in? What are my videos about? And so I've sort of been filming here and there. I have some stuff that I'm editing.
Good.
But I'm also trying to come up with bigger picture ideas, like a movie or a documentary or a podcast, things like that. I have the time. So I have some things.
Good. I'm happy to hear that, and that's good to hear. And you don't have, again, I'm glad you didn't have to reveal anything you don't want to do, because again, people fucking steal shit all the time. You know, I had the same thing, and I've struggled over the past year, and I struggle on a daily basis. There's some days I'm really creatively motivated to create something and write a pitch and write a deck and write a script, you know, edit, whatever it may be. And then there's a couple days in a row where I'm just like, ugh.
I mean, you know, you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard. And if I didn't have Indy, this thing wouldn't fucking run properly. I mean, Indy pushes me. Indy, you know, especially with this podcast, like, you know, I'm thankful that I have a really good friend and a guy that wants to work with me and produce with me. And, you know, we get along, and, you know, there's no arguing. There's no egos in it. You know what I mean? And I think that's huge, because I don't want someone working with, I mean, listen, egos happen everywhere, but, you know, sometimes someone's ego takes over a whole project and you just don't want to do it. But Indy really motivated me and pushed me to do that. And just even doing these podcasts, which I enjoy talking to my friends. I enjoy talking to my former colleagues. I enjoy talking to people that I've met once or twice in my life, to bring them on to talk about what they do. It helps me creatively move forward on other pieces.
Yeah.
And you're right. Absolutely. You know, everyone should take the time. And like I said, that's my whole point is, even after this is all done, take the time to do it, because, you know, this should have realized this pandemic, you know, taught us a lot of things. But one of the things is, like, take care of yourself. And that includes your passions and your dreams. Yeah.
And I'm not by any means saying bring out your journal and like write a journal.
No,
I hate journaling.
No, but it helps. If it helps. Sure.
If it helps. And also just like, I guess it's just like, think about what you like. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, I hate to say it, but quit. Like,
no, I completely agree. I tell my brother that every day. I got
furloughed and I liked my job. I loved my job. I worked there for I worked at Meredith for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I was a producer. At the end in April, I was like the point of contact for Eating Well. You know, like, I was working with people in Vermont.
Yeah.
Constantly. You know, I mean, it was great. I was in charge of 3 shows and a live show on Instagram. I was constantly on phone calls, constantly doing the thing. And then when I got furloughed, in a weird way, I mean, I was upset. But then once I was past that, it was like I had a sigh of relief. Yeah. That I was like, I didn't have to do that shit anymore. I could do my own thing, you know?
Yep. No, I had the same feeling when I got laid off from COVID over the summer. I was like, you know, I get to focus on me now. My thoughts aren't, you know, whirling around someone else's project. Yeah. So, last question. All right, before we let you go. Beignets. I always fuck up the word. Beignets. Cafe du Monde seems to be the popular place. Now, is it? And before I get to it, because like in Philly, people always say, oh, got to go to Pat's and Geno's for cheesesteaks. But, you know, there's tons of other great cheesesteak places in Philly that are not Pat and Geno's, that are actually better. Is Cafe du Monde the standard? Or is it just the tourist standard and there's actually better places that we don't know about?
I think for beignets, for dessert beignets, regular powdered donuts.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
But people have made twists and things
Altered
along the
variations,
way.
sure.
You know, Le Petit Grocery, for instance, they have crab stuffed beignets as an appetizer. They're savory. They're delicious. They have like an aioli dipping sauce.
Okay.
They're amazing.
I take your word for it.
I think, yes, I think Cafe du Monde is the standard. It will always be the standard in my book. There used to be a place called Morning Call. It is now permanently closed. I don't think it was ever that good to begin with, but some people loved it. There's something about going to the corner with your friends. I did it many a time in high school as well. Being super drunk on Bourbon Street.
Jealous.
Waiting in line at the pickup window because there was like a walk-up window.
Yeah.
Getting your beignets at the end of the night at like 1 a.m. You're totally not sober and you're just putting those beignets down. And it was probably the icing on the cake of the night, honestly. And they're good in the morning too. You just dip them in your coffee. They're delicious. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still craving those things. They're fantastic. But
if I could send some, I would.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they travel well, to be honest. They're very, like I said, that's one thing that wouldn't travel well. But Caroline, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to plug you real quick. You can go check out her YouTube channel, Crescent City Caroline. There'll be content coming out there. You can also check her out on Instagram at Crescent City Caroline. And is there any other things you want to plug or handles you want to plug? Please feel free.
I have two Instas, the Crescent City Caroline and then the Sweet Caro Nead. That's my personal one, but it is public to the world. I usually share on both. I'm trying to get better at the Crescent City, but hey,
yeah,
I can only deal with so many social medias. I don't even have a TikTok. I try to do Twitter. It doesn't work. I'm not a good Twitterer.
It's all right. I'm all over the place. Some days I'm good at Twitter. Some days I'm better at Instagram. It's a lot.
That's it. That's all.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, and we'll hang out soon. Hopefully, once this all kicks out. I mean, I need to make it out there again because I just miss all the good food. So, once this all ends, I'll be out there and we'll kick it for real.
Yeah, let me know. Also, I will send you some bagels.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Indy's excited too. Yes, I please send us some bagels. I can always make the bacon, egg, and cheese part of it here. I'll reheat it properly. I'll give it a proper score. Please send me some bagels. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, look up Stein's.
Stein's? Okay, I'll check it out after this.
They got good pickles, but I don't think those ship very well.
Well, they might.
They might if they're in it. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
I'll send you some stuff.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.